The cost of a new car in the U.S. is higher than it's ever been. Some of the top automakers are beginning to cast the blame on the dealerships where the cars are being offered for sale, and Ford CEO Jim Farley is planning to make a change. Ford Motor Company is clamping down on dealerships who try to charge more than the sticker price, a practice that has become more common due to the lack of available vehicles. While not all dealers agree with this practice, the majority of the large ones, particularly those in urban areas, are taking advantage of it to make quick money. The issue is that the final consumer is being taken advantage of, and the company is not being held accountable for permitting such shady practices. This is exactly why Ford is taking action. We've really got some exciting news about the Ford Maverick and Ford's plan moving forward. Make sure to watch until the end because you'll be shocked as to what we'll tell you. When selling their automobiles to dealerships, automakers normally advise a retail price. But the dealers are not required to follow it. Due to a scarcity of microchips and other supply chain issues during the past year, manufacturers have had a difficult time producing enough automobiles to satisfy consumer demand. Because of this, the cost of new and used cars have reached record high levels. According to Kelley Blue Book, the average new car in the U.S. sold for over $47,000 in December, an increase of almost $6,000 from the previous year. Dealers used to rarely sell automobiles for more than their sticker price, but that tendency started to change last year. Compared to just 0.2% of car sales in 2019, 80.3% of those made in the U.S. this past January were sold for more than their suggested retail price. Ford is facing competition from competitor automakers like Tesla, which sells directly to customers rather than through dealerships, as the U.S. auto sector accelerates to move to electric vehicles. Demand is undoubtedly a good indicator of consumer interest, but actions like these paint a poor picture of the brand, which is why automakers are receiving a lot of criticism for allowing dealerships to continue their insane price adjustments. Due to the supply situation, Ford is determined to end the unreasonable markups imposed by some dealerships, according to Fox Business. We have an excellent understanding of who they are, and their future allocation of the product will be immediately impacted, according to Jim Farley, CEO of Ford. When Blue Oval learned that reservations for the F-150 Lightning had been overcharged, they reacted quickly. According to Fox Business, Andrew Frick, the chief of sales at Ford, warned dealers in a letter that they risked losing their F-150 Lightning allocations if they attempted to charge reservation holders extra costs to finalize final orders. The Ford Bronco, the Bronco Sport, the F-150 Raptor, and the Mustang Mach-E were among the other Blue Oval vehicles that saw price increases. Farley forewarned dealers in February that they would lose their vehicle allocations if they made reservation holders pay more than the MSRP. Nothing has changed from what we've seen, but only time will tell. Dealers have avoided this by shifting well-liked vehicles on the pre-owned car lots. This explains why there are so many pre-owned new Broncos available. Ford increased its efforts and subsequently implemented a stringent name-match policy that required a customer name to be associated with a car prior to its allocation. As dealers continued to ignore these warnings, Ford pressed the penalty accelerator harder with a new measure. Cars Direct claims that the automaker has delivered its sternest warning yet, threatening to deny the worst offenders vehicle allocations for the current and following model years. Ford has outlined what constitutes brokering and the steps it takes to prevent it in a letter to dealers. Additionally, the letter warns that dealers who violate the rules will face harsher penalties. The letter states that the first offense may result in a 1-to-1 decrease of future allocation by the amount brokered. For the current or following model year, all allocations from the same model may be redirected for the subsequent violation. If put into effect, this regulation may be able to prevent dealers from reselling popular cars for a sizable profit through third parties, such as used car and auction platforms. It does not provide a means of preventing private flippers from making money off the sale of their vehicles. Ford might want to focus on reducing demand rather than just trying to stop people from selling their cars. However, Ford doesn't stand alone in the battle. Similar to this, Steve Carlisle, president of General Motors North America, is preventing the market adjustment exercise from getting out of hand and affecting their inventory, especially the Cadillac Lyriq, GMC Hummer EV, and the C8 Corvette Z06. the Chevy dealerships have received a letter from Mr. Carlisle alerting them of the practice and repercussions should they refuse to cooperate, according to the Detroit Free Press. In connection with some of the announcements and launches, a teeny number of dealers, according to the letter, have engaged in behaviors that do not support a great sales experience for our clients. In the letter's final paragraph, it stated that GM will be required to take action if it learns of any unethical sales practices or brokering activities, and that this letter serves as notice that GM reserves the right to redirect your vehicle allocation or take other remedial action as provided for by the dealer sales and service agreement. In the meantime, some dealers' justification for price gouging is being strengthened by the popularity of new cars developed by conventional automakers to better compete in the EV market. Following accusations that they were being advertised as high as $30,000 over their sticker price, Ford specifically urged dealers last month not to raise pricing for its electric F-150 pickup, and at least one dealer changed course. But what exactly is the reason why dealerships drive up the prices of these cars? Doubt and uncertainty are peaking right now. The recession is imminent, and demand is surging more than ever before. The impact extends beyond the automotive and finance industries. Think about how much everything has increased since the last year or so, including inflation, fuel costs, and living expenses. The cost of these new cars are out of this world, and the cost of secondhand cars is also ridiculous. More money is being made per unit as a result of insane markups, but not necessarily for the automaker. Dealerships are the ones profiting because they're able to take advantage of the limited supply and strong demand. The introduction of COVID and all that followed resulted in a chain of events that increased inflation, disrupted supply and demand, and resulted in a global semiconductor shortage. The latter has a substantial effect on the manufacturing of new cars. Now, you may have seen news of numerous finished automobiles that were awaiting chips, the kind that power the interior electronics. However, how did it impact the cost? Prices usually increase when there is a shortage of supply. It's the underlying tenet of the supply-demand idea. Since there isn't enough supply, dealerships had to mark up the existing inventory, which resulted in higher prices for customers. It's true that it's difficult to assign responsibility to a single party. Dealerships wouldn't have needed to charge anything and could have sold cars at MSRP, satisfying customer demand, if supply had been normal. From the perspective of the dealer, they're giving up volumes and must compensate by charging more. It's the premiums themselves, though, that have a terrible reputation. On F-150 Lightnings, markups of $50,000 to $70,000 have reportedly been recorded, which is ludicrous. It would have been morally right to charge nominal premiums of, say, $2,000 to $3,000 on a $50,000 MSRP. After all, the MSRP is only a suggestion and doesn't have to be the same at every dealership. The MSRP, according to Investopedia, is intended to maintain pricing at a constant level from store to store. Consumers don't always pay the MSRP when they make purchases, and shops are not obligated to match this pricing. In order to reasonably move inventory off the shelves, products may be sold for less, or vice versa if there is a great demand. Who do you think is liable for the high markup of vehicles? Is it the company or the dealerships? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We're all well aware of the release of the all-new Ford Maverick. The Ford Maverick is built on the same basic chassis as the Ford Escape and Bronco Sport. The Maverick is constructed on a stamped unibody platform rather than the conventional ladder frame with a separately installed body and bed. It's essentially a front-drive vehicle with all-wheel drive potential. The Maverick offers independent rear suspension beneath coil springs, as opposed to a conventional truck's solid rear axle suspended below leaf springs. Customers have the option of a hybrid or turbocharged gasoline engine under the hood. As we've discussed all through this video, dealers have been full of ridiculous markup prices, and the Ford Maverick is widely known for its low entry price. And with this news of the Ford CEO dealing with the dealers seriously, we can now expect the Ford Maverick to go back at a range of only $20,000. Is this the era of Ford being affordable? Stay tuned with us for more upcoming news. Don't forget to like this video. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel for more car-related news. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.